Hi, this is Dawn Marie with Creative DME Designs, and this big huge monkin thing right here is Just Junk Journal, which was a creative challenge that I did this year with dearJulieJulie. She gave us all of these things that we could use. This is what we had to do. And on the bottom here, we had to have certain things, like a page with 2 pockets, and I'll try to point those out as I go through my journal. So, I should probably leave that open so I can see my numbers because I have them placed through the thing. So, this is the hard journal. I did it out of an old Real Simple book. And it was actually a very interesting book. It did have this, had a different cover, but this is an old Zentangle that mandala that I had colored probably a couple of years ago. And I just cut it in half and put it on here because I like how that looked. These are the bindings. We had to have two parts to our books, 2 signatures, and this shows that I have 2 signatures. This right here, which is the inches are correct. Back when my husband was, I think it was Herbalife, we still have a ton of these measuring tapes hanging around the house, so I've taken all of those. So yep, this is the cover. Let me make sure that everybody's seeing everything here. The book had a lot of artful things and a lot of quotes in it, and I've actually cut out a lot of quotes that I can use at a later time. But so you'll be able to see those through here. And this is actually the Duchamp, Marcel Duchamp, right here. And anything can be beautiful. I do think that I'm probably going to use this as an art journal. So the pages will get used up more. And I do plan on probably putting something else in the binding here because I'll probably end up taking out all of the little things that I have throughout here when I make it my art journal. The other thing it's in here with it is a journal that several years ago somebody had come up with, and they put it into in 2012, and they had prompts, and I'll show you some of the prompts to draw and color or do whatever you wanted with them. So I sort of did both of them because it's going to be an art journal. It also gave me blank pages, which is always wonderful when you're doing a journal. I did put another piece of my undone Zentangle mandala. So one of the things we had to do was make stickers, and I keep all of my labels. And so these were Jane Davenport labels from her, make sure you can see it, from her watercolor set. This paper is Julie's. This was something actually that I found that had gotten waterlogged on the side of, like, in a parking lot. I don't know what it was, but it looks really cool because it goes very well with Julie's papers. Another one that I keep is Tim Holtz. I keep all of his packaging. So I had made a pocket, a fabric pocket with a card in here. And you'll see all these quotes. And the quotes didn't necessarily go together. I may have put them together. And on the back here, once again, Jane Davenport washi. And this was a Christmas card, I think it was, from another, shoot, I can't remember who it was from. It was last year's. And then once again, packaging from a painting set. This right here, it was part of a Dear Julie Julie kit, and we had to do a double tuck. So this line means that there's actually a, I actually glued there, and so you can put two things in here. This paper right here was paper that I dyed with either tea or coffee, I'm not sure which. We have both around the house all the time. These were little motivational cards that I had found. Actually, it was in a magazine, and I cut them out and made them into little motivational cards, and you'll see throughout this too. And I made a tuck here. This was one of the extra things we had to do. We had to make tags out of different papers, but you cut them and you made that many tags, and you'll see them throughout here. But this is the one, and I put one of the quotes on the back. I did use a dictionary, actually a French dictionary, for the back, and I tried to find a word that's on here to go with this and whatever's going on the front. Here, back later, I ended up using a Chinese food menu. So this is from the Chinese food menu, and I had made these into stickers. And then this is Dear Julie Julie paper, and this is actually from a box of gum I had gotten at one point. I really enjoyed seeing Go Away, I'm an Introvert. And then this page right here is actually from that book I was telling you about that I used the second one. And these are like ideas that you can draw for a journal. Here's another one of the pages. Write one anecdote a day for a month. This paper right here is dyed with chai tea. That's what made it orange. This is from the book that the board is from, and they put these little stories throughout, and I kept these in the book as best I could, just because some of them were pretty funny and I enjoyed them. So we had to make a flip with a pocket underneath and a card inside, and I made this guy. His name is Ant. This came from a Seven Gypsies packaging card. There's some Dear Julie Julie paper. This came from obviously a mailer. These are also from Seven Gypsies. And this was from a old bed sheet. It's the top of it. And I put a little magic hat with bunny coming out of it because my husband does card magic, so he's a magician, so I put him in here. This was the glossary to the book, which I really liked because they're really basic figures. And eventually I'll probably end up covering it over, but for now I really like how basic it is. We had to make a 3-pocket thing. So what I did here, you really can't tell right now, but I'll pull all the extras out. This was one of the cards we had to make. And I made this card. And this one right here, you had to do a, the way old Valentine's Day cards and other cards would have a little piece of ribbon in. They usually wound them around through holes, and that's what one of them is. And this one right here, one of the stories that was in there, in this book, was telling about how liars came through with what they, they had to lie to do what they did, so that happens to be there. I love Andy Warhol, and it also had little tiny things on the bottom of the page that had little historical things. So this one says, Year Andy Warhol showed 32 Campbell soup cans in a Los Angeles gallery, 1962. And this is a little thing to tuck behind, and I put that on there. And so as you, whoops, and this one right here, I made a little poem up from all of the wording on the back of a Seven Gypsies container. And this was from Vicky Boughton's art crayons. So I put create on the back of this one, and actually mentions Marblehead, Massachusetts. And I went to college and was born in Massachusetts, so that's what has extra. So this is a 3-pocket. I have a pocket, well, actually I have a tuck in here, a pocket, and a tuck, because I didn't make it go over. But what it is, it's one big piece of paper that you cut at a diagonal, and then you fold it over 3 times. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and it makes it like this. I did put the, you have to put the lace on after you've done that. You would think that, oh, I'll put it on first, but then it makes it go behind it. So yes, that's from that same lace, actually, that I used on this too. Coffee or tea dyed paper. And this is another 3-pocket. I like having big gusseted pockets in here. They're really easy to make. You just fold them in 4s. 1, 2, 3, and make 4 areas. And so this can hold a lot of thick things if you really need it to. This was from packaging to show you how to draw and do different skin types and hair types. And this was another one of those quilted tags. And this one has connect on the back. And this was a tag we had to do also. Just one word, and when you flip it up, the word is dog, and they're a humble pet. And then art is back here for just one word. This also is a Dear Julie Julie paper, and will work for craft supplies. And I did put words back here. Create, happy, handmade, and organize is things that we do when we have crafts, or when we're a crafter. And in the big pocket here is another one of the quilted ones, and this one has trust on the back. I ended up not having enough places for all of those, so I did make this one a fringe at the top of this, and there were 4 here, and then when you turn the page, there are 3 more here. And then this is Dear Julie Julie paper, and one of the pictures in here was a bunch of crushed cars. So I really liked that, and I made it into a piece of washi. That was another story. I had gotten these for Christmas, so, and I love the shape of the packaging, so I had just stuck it on the paper. I didn't do anything extra to it, but I did put this tag in it. Imagine, create. This came off the top of some paint. And I'm into reduce and recycling, doing all of my art. So I did put reduce here, and I put a button, and make a magazine collage. And there's some jeans. That was part of the pictures that they were showing you how to do. And a blast of color, because I love color. Okay, another piece of small coffee dyed paper. I really didn't do much on these because they are so small and they're thin. We had to make a belly band, and what a belly band is it can either go this way or top to bottom, and something can pass through it. This is from a packaging for a traveler's journal. So what I did is I just put that on, and I made it the belly band. The paper behind it was actually a friend had a birthday, and this was part of the birthday paper, and they threw it away, and I pulled it out of the trash can. And I made a card out of this one, and you can see another one of those blue things. The first paper merchant in America who helped found 18 paper mills in Virginia and surrounding areas was Benjamin Franklin. And this has phone book furniture, which actually, that's what that is. And that just slides in there. And actually, if you look at what page it's on the first page of the paper one. That has everything that you would do in it. And I really liked that page. I wish I didn't have to cover it up as much, but I like that you can see all the paper on the edges. And this is the brief history of paper, which I did not cover over because we all work in paper doing junk journals, and I felt that this needed to be saved and so that we could all read it. Once again, chai tea dyed paper. This was one of the pages I kept clean, but I did make a ruffle at the top out of my old Reed's Lifesaver. Well, they're not Lifesavers, candy wrappers. I had gotten cinnamon, root beer, and butterscotch. And they're really, really yummy. I love them. So I made a ruffle out of that. This was, they had showed how to make a journal in the book. So I had made sure that I put that there. And then I put another little card in here, and I did make this up. And on the back, I made a flower coming up. And once again, this was that paper that I had found in the parking lot. Hopefully this isn't going to be long. That was the end of the first signature. This is the second signature. And I had added things onto this. I put that his finger goes to heaven because he's got little wings on it. This, I was going to make it another belly band to go through, but I ended up having to glue it there because of the way the paper was on this side. But this is also showing all of the books that people sent in for the sketchbook library thing. And actually, no, you can't see it. I was going to say the information was there. We had to make something out of a piece of fabric, so I actually wove pieces of paper through the fabric. My friends had gone to Dollywood and they got me a little present, and this was what came with it. And I made a little thing because that's where they said they could, oh, and that has Melissa's number on it. You don't want to see that. You know, so I put this on there so I remember that they gave me that. Now this picture right here, actually I dug out of the trash at, it was huge. It was a huge poster. Somebody didn't like how fuzzy it was, and they told the people at the office supply place that they didn't want it, and it was sticking right up at the top, and I asked if I could have it to make a art piece out of, and they said sure. So they handed it over to me. So technically it was trash. It came right out of the trash. This right here is, I made a double pocket. So here's a pocket right in here, and what I did is I made it out of 2 pages, and at the sketchbook project was the name of the second book that I used, and I made sure I put that in there so I would remember it. And then we also had to make a little 2x2 card, so laughter, and then hair metal was the logical world nod, just making up stupid little things. This I'll do at the end because we had to make something to put extra stuff in, and that's actually what that is. This was one of the center pages, and this was the page for plastics, so I used Tim Holtz, and I made up my own words again with the 7 Gypsies. This actually is a topper here all the way across, and this is at the top of a piece of paper I'd written a note on, so I just pulled that off. And this is actually from the Stampers Anonymous tag, and I liked that. I think this is a cute idea, but I would never use it because Tide I'm allergic to. This was another piece of paper that I kept. Once again, handmade paper. This one right here is all Julie paper. This is a tea. The white fluff on the outside is tea liners, so I'd taken the tea out of them. This white plastic piece is actually from a pin rounder. You get pins and they all come in a little round. What I did is I'd taken most of the pins out and I cut the center out of it because I'd really messed up this middle piece here to cut it out. And then so I made it like this, and one of the tools I used was a hole punch so I could get all of these perfect. So I made it like a little a flower there. This was a Julie. I'm sorry, that would be Abby. She thinks that she can come up. This was a Julie thing, and we had to make a pocket out of a packaging, and that's what that is. And I made, excuse me, I made that. And here, 2 more pages that I didn't use. This was actually one of my first ones that I did, and I really enjoyed this one. Now, not many people know, but I actually learned how to use chopsticks before I learned how to use fork, knife, and spoon, because our neighbor was from Korea, and I was with her most of the day because she babysat me. So I really enjoyed this right here, so I decided to make something up with it. This is a flip card with picture of a horror story. I actually pulled it out of my Halloween stuff, an Asian horror story. This is from a packaging that something came in from Jumbo China, and they were going to throw it out, and I asked if I could have it. But it had a whole bunch of little pretty stuff on it, and I was like, I really want that. And yes, I will ask stores to give me stuff. And this is about chopsticks. So there's the menu. And what I did here is I had some Thai-style tom yum soup. I know I'm pulling all the different cultures in together. And then I made, out of some of that paper left over, I made just a little thing that's from chopsticks. And then I had another packaging that had writing on it. And I found some stickers, and this was a FedEx box CD wrap, so I put that in there. I made a little tuck spot here, and when my husband had gone to China, he brought me back some money, so I put it in my little tuck spot. And you see I made those, so this is like you could write your things there. This is a Dear Julie paper, and this is the list from the back of the that I had cut off of the menu. And here is a little I had gotten a present for my birthday, and this was the card that was the envelope from the card, and more Jane Davenport. And these were the little, I had made up these little cards from the end of the menu. Oh, Bruno was coming up, that's why. And then you flip them through, and I had made some more, like I said, that I had made into sticker. This was another one of the tabs we had to make, and I made this. This is Dear Julie paper. I had done some Zentangling on it, and I like this because it said washi tape sun catcher, and it sort of belongs in this area. So there's a pocket. And this shows the etiquette in the Korean way. This is another one of the saved books, and I could have put something on this page, but I didn't. I'll eventually use it for my art journal. This was a birthday card I got, so I decided to use it, and I used it for an up and down flip. So I didn't want you to read what it said on it, so I sort of covered it with just pieces of paper that I had left in my junk journal. And this is an Eames style, which it is. It's an Eames style chair, and that was actually in this book. And you can see here's one of the pages, and that's where all those little blue sayings were down at the bottom. This is an actual page. And this was Dear Julie, Julie paper. So I just sort of covered it in the area. This is the back of the book, of the card that I got, and it just tells about a painter's palette. I was going to do something different with this page. That's why you see the crease down it, but when I got that as a birthday card, I decided to change it. Here it says spoons, which I guess I'm supposed to draw spoons on this, but I have lupus and I go by the spoon theory, which if anybody needs to, go ahead and look it up. It shows you how much energy you have for the day. And then I put imagine there. And this was, as you can see, was another backing. And this was another one of the ones that you showed how to put ribbon through the holes, and this would be like a holder and it went up and down, but I also made it go through the lace. And then I used for the inside from the book, it had a whole thing on lace. So I used that, and this is Dear Julie, Julie paper. And I made up my own little thing there. Okay, and we're getting to the end. We had to do a envelope that went over the corner of a page. So I did this envelope that went over the corner of the page, but I took the envelope and I cut it apart and made it into 3 pockets. And I decorated it and made it with a little things. This gold paper is actually from the root beer wrapper, the Reed's root beer wrappers. And then of course, because I have to have dogs in my book, the other side of it had Home is Where My Dog Is, which actually came on a Hershey bar that I had gotten many, many years ago when I was in rescue, and I saved the wrapper from it. I'm telling you, I've saved this wrapper for 7 years to try to find the right place for it. So I did find the 2 dogs that were in here. I made sure I put them towards the back here. Here's that. My husband, these are cards from my husband, and that's what he calls me. In the back here, the last page, I also wanted to make a big, huge holder for things. So I have 2 here, and we had to make a matchstick book note paper file. So what I did is they had, when they talked about iron, they did it in like a rock, punk rock, heavy metal theme. So I pulled that out and I used this, and then that was one of the little sayings in the book. But I also used all the scraps that I had left over from Dear Julie, Julie paper. And this was from our bank statement, I think. And you can see I did words there. And these are actually, remember there was a tag with, they had jeans on the back. This was what they were making. They were making a bed out of jeans for the dog. And then this is the second one. And this I used, they had about glass. They had a car glass, you can see there. And then in this book, they had the chemical breakdown of all the things that they talked about. I saved all these little things, information, and I made them into the matchstick book, which you can tell these were used already. They were used when, from when we had my mom's sale of all the stuff in her house. We had marked things with them, and I kept them because the back was blank. But I know people say, why do you keep that stuff? Well, guess what? I have time. I can use it now. Chemical breakdown of plastic, wood, metal, glass, and fiber. And they all look, I mean, they all have the same guy. They just, you know, have different things. And then this was something I thought was funny, a sconce that's made out of colander. And then I had made, this was from the paper. I put paper down when I'm inking stuff, so I have piles of it. So I had put that on to make a little rib there so you could see it. This is the very end of the book. You can see that's the end of the picture, that picture that I pulled out of the trash at the book. This was one of the pictures that I didn't use, that I decided I wanted to sort of put there as a, it had glossary of terms in it, which I actually, sometimes I like to know those things. So I just wrinkled it up and put it in there. Now, this was something I had done when I very first made the book and didn't know what we were going to be needing. And I made a pocket here. So I reduce your tree independence, which basically don't use as much paper. We had to make, I think a 7-inch folio, and this one actually is way longer. And this is the other words that were in the glossary. And then, and I used pictures from this. And of course I had to use the guitars for Mark. And I was running low, and I put all the different, some of the little blue comments on here that I liked. And I liked this one really because the Italians invented the first wearable eyeglasses. Oh, and saran wrap. Say hello to saran wrap in 1933. I thought that was really interesting. And this is what they put on each one of the things you could do in here. This was the level of how difficult it was to make whatever they were suggesting. So as you can see, it's like ape, Neanderthal, and, you know, and then up to us. And there's a little pocket here too. And this has, I made a little folded card with little pockets in it. And this one is about the guy who made cellophane. So he made wood into cellophane. And then here's a quote from Winston Churchill. And I do like quotes. And on the back of this one, I put hope. Oh yes, and I have this little thing stuck in it. Was swank duds, and which was one of the things from in there. And there's some Dear Julie paper on this too. I had sewed this because it wasn't staying because it was a little glossy. So I had just hand sewed it, and it does. It makes quite a few different pockets. And these were little tags, proof of purchases from Ready Made, that came in the book. And that's the end of my book. But I have a couple other things to show. These were some things that I pulled out. Another one of the quilt ones, and that has Right on it. This is about a tree, which they end up showing with paper. And I actually really loved that picture, so I decided to make a thing out of it. And this, once again, I used all the little blue sayings on here, and the ones that have these little tags right here actually can flip over, because there was one on the back that I enjoyed too. So this has a lot of reading in this book. I had made this, I don't know what you could put in it, but I wanted to flip it somehow, and I had done, this was when we had to loop through to make the vintage, the way vintage cards used to do it, and I had found one online of how to make a bow, and it was all linked through. I did end up having to glue the ends down here so it wouldn't pull out, because I did make it out of washi tape, which is pretty slick, and it kept falling out, so I did end up gluing it together. Once again, this is one of my little sayings. This one's pretty funny. Being all around messy is how creatives bring the raw hobby from bad things to new magic inspired, amazing, original Pimp Daddy ideal art. So, and this was my favorite quilt one because it had this little man that was on the beach sitting on a piece of wood, and it also shows the mat that was made out of clothespins, which I actually really liked too. But you don't see that many of these kind of clothespins around very often, and that one has chews on it. This was the front page to plastic, and it had something about Tupperware on it. So, and this woman was really funny, but she had writing across her head, so you couldn't really use her that well. So that's why it got used here. And I made a little card that says Maine here because it actually had that in there. And then here's something about in Farmington, Maine, the person who actually came up and invented ear muffs. So whenever anything's special about Maine, I usually try to highlight it. So, and then on back here, creative ideas. And I did put some more of those on there. And one was a twig candelabra, which I enjoyed. So, and this we had to make a trifold envelope to hold extra stuff. I don't think I have any extra stuff in it. Because I had used a mandala on the other one, I decided I'd pull out from my coloring book another piece of mandala paper. And yes, I put the highlights and everything in it. The other thing I did with this, which I was trying to clean the gunk off my scissors because I had cut some sticky stuff with it. And the alcohol dropped and went all over a different one of these. And I happened to have a piece of my cotton there, and all of the marker went from the picture to this. So I ended up using it on this because it sort of makes it look better than just the plain off-white that it was. Obviously, I used, actually this was the one that it was from. I was able to get one piece out of it. This is Dear Julie Julie paper. And I have one pocket in there. And I have, once again, a card from my husband. Here's a little pocket and believe. And then how to be a good bluffer. I actually liked this tip sheet and wanted to keep it. So I put it in here. And this pocket is really deep, so it can go down deep. But I like to have that flipped out. And then I used TV Guide one. And this is another little piece that I used of Dear Julie Julie paper and some of the extra from the business reply from the TV Guide. And I just threw a little tag together to fit in there. And then this card was green on the background, so I made the end come up so you could put something in there. This was that paper that I found on the ground in the parking lot, and like I said, it was already had all the stuff on it, so I think somebody had gotten it wet and didn't like it and may have thrown it out of their car. And this was something that I really liked there because they have the LOVE in sign language. So I had taken that out and made sure I kept it for something important. So this has a belly band. These are pockets. And then this is my big, huge pocket to put bigger things in if I need to. And then when you close it up, you can see that I made it so there's fun stuff sticking out. And the lighter one on the front, and then the front here, and then the fingery ones from there. But if you open it up, you can see that this is actually on the right-hand side. And then on the last ones that I'm going to show you is something that we're doing for Dear Julie Julie's website. It's challenge within a challenge. I don't think that they really have to go in with these, but I wanted to show them. I've had this fabric I found it in a thrift store. This was supposed to be, I think, a purse somebody had made, and I loved this fabric, so I pulled it apart and used it in this. And so we had to use fabric, a doily, ribbon, lace, and a bunch of a wind-up of thread. So that's what I had done with that one. And then this one I had made out of packing again. And this was from one of the girls, on the side of the girl with the coyote. And I really, this is from Halloween paper, but I really like it, and I always keep some of my Halloween paper out. And then I had taken and done some inking on that to make it that pretty color. This book belongs to was actually in the front of one of the two major books that I had used. So I did want to put this in, but I didn't actually get in anyway, but I made it out of this, and this will go into my book. And this is just a card that says this book belongs to. I did some cinching of paper here. It was a paper bag that I had used to do some inking on the edge. This I had made probably 3 years ago for a project I had made in a gift giving thing I had done. There's some Dear Julie Julie paper back there. That was that card, the cars that are in a crushed garage place. I used these little, there's my little nest of stuff. Raw material, I made it so it will keep it shut. And this red stuff here is old binding tape that came from one of my grandmother's houses. So it's older probably than God. This was the girl with the coyote on, and I sort of cinched her up. I used my lace. This was from a birthday card that I had gotten. You'll see the birthday card later. And I made it into a little pocket with that. And that's some washi tape. And this is from a calendar from last year. We had to make a pocket out of a envelope. So this is the pocket I made out of an envelope. This is the inside of the card. And that's the front of the card. And then this has the girl with the antlers, which you really can't see, but I put that there, and there's my little button. And then this is the last one in that, and this was the card, but I had taken out the Fortune Smiles on it. It actually went on the inside, like where this is taken out. I did find some yellow paper and sort of put it together. But there's Dear Julie Julie paper on the background, and this is the fabric from the back side of the ladies' things. And there's some writing here, and it has all the different marks there. And I made it sort of look like a glove because of the doily here on the edge. And that's it for this project. It has to be turned in by the end of January, and I believe I've done it. Once again, this is Dawn Marie with Creative DME Designs. I hope everybody has a nice day. And let's see. I'm going to stamp it done. Done, done, done. It didn't come out. Of course. Let's stamp this one done. I hope this doesn't count for my tools, because I do this on the back of all of mine. And that's done. Have a nice day.